Hello chat. Today we're going to talk about the Roux method. In case you weren't familiar before, in today's landscape we have two major methods in the meta, CFOP and Roux. And as someone who's familiar with both of these methods, I've always found the Roux method to be a little underappreciated by the larger community, and I wanted to make this video to somewhat make a case for it. So this video is going to mostly be a Roux tutorial, but at the end I will go over some reasons as to why I think in some scenarios, in some cases, you might prefer to use Roux over CFOP. I'm only a Roux enthusiast, but I do know a few Roux experts, including my good friend Antonio Camhotong. He has some excellent resources online teaching the Roux method, so I'll be following them for this tutorial. So here we have Antonio Camhotong's website, and as we can see on the top, he has listed so graciously for us all 5 steps of the Roux method in order: FB, SB, CMLL, EO, and 4C, and I'll go over those in a bit. But I just wanted to say this is a really great website for learning about Roux, and if you want to visit it yourself, head to rouxl.es, ROUXL.es. Now let's go over the steps in order. I'll be showing live demonstration as we go along to get the best visuals. The first 2 steps, FB and SB, are generally thought to be the most intuitive, and we're going to see why that is right now. So the first step is FB, which obviously stands for flour bowl. This is half of our roux, and the starch in the flour will really help to thicken whatever sauce we put our roux into. As we can see here, all we really need to do is take our measuring cup and put some flour into the bowl. Once you've obtained your crucial flour bowl, we can move on to the second step, SB. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take out our SB, which is our stick of butter, and leave it to thaw for a little bit. And congrats, you've done the first 2 steps. Hopefully you see why it's so intuitive. The second half of the solve is going to involve putting everything together to actually make roux. Our next step is CMLL. This means caramelization means less lumps. The longer we cook the roux, the less lumpy it will be, which is a great guideline as we go into the next steps. Armed with our new knowledge of CMLL, we can move on to the next step of the Roux method, which is EO. I think this is the simplest part of the Roux method, and I assume it just means electricity on. So let's go ahead and turn on the stove and wait for a bit for our pan to heat up. Once it's hot, we're going to add in the butter and slowly add in the flour and then mix to make our roux. If you've been keeping up so far, that's great. There's only one last step which is going to help us know when we're done with the roux. Antonio Camhotong lists it as 4C, which definitely refers to the 4 categories of roux: white, blonde, brown, and dark brown roux in order of thickness. These refer to the different levels of caramelization of the roux. The longer we cook it, the darker the roux gets. More browning creates a richer and more complex flavor, but less thickening power. Different dishes that use roux will ask for different styles, but I'll show all 4 categories so we know what they look like. Now during the 4C step, it's important that you continuously stir the roux, otherwise the flour may form lumps or otherwise burn on the bottom of your pan, which is not great. The first kind of roux we'll see is white roux. It's pasty, a little thick. This one took me around 2 to 5 minutes to make. Second, we have blonde roux. It's a little less viscous than white roux and a little more colored, and this takes around 10 minutes to make. Around the 15 to maybe 30 minute mark, we're going to see brown roux. This is where the roux starts to get very liquid and runny. And finally, at around 40 minutes, I got dark brown roux, which is very liquid and has a nice nutty smell. Whenever you've finished cooking your roux, you can take it off the heat and store it for future use. I like to put my roux in a jar and put it in the fridge so I can use it later for cooking. There are plenty of good reasons why people main the Roux method. Of course, it's a great way to both thicken a sauce and add in some nice flavor, but it also has advantages compared to other methods. Notice how I never had to rotate in this method. This is a really big advantage compared to CFOP: cut, fry, oven, plate. To do CFOP quickly, we have to rotate between different tasks, such as cutting some ingredients while other things fry to get fast times. Roux also tends to have a lower move count. In CFOP, we have to move around a lot to go from the cutting board to the pan to the oven tray to the plate, which lowers our operational efficiency. Both of these reasons are why a lot of people like the Roux method for the one-handed event. And in fact, if you watch everything back in this tutorial, I've only been using one hand. That's how natural the Roux method is for OH.